Lord Xerus.
Hello, my lords and ladies. I'm Lord Xerus, and welcome back to my castle. Today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some of the stuff we've been working on, and we're gonna make some more cool SCA gear out of it. Now, I want to show you something. This is my current shield. This is a heater shield, and I made this myself. I painted everything, I painted the design. This is made out of a single big juice barrel that I got from a friend of mine. It's made out of plastic. This is the back of it. This shield is strapped to be ambidextrous. I thought it'd be cool to have a shield that you could switch between hands, but with my armor, it turned out not to be so easy to do in practice. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna make a shield very similar to that one. I've already got my juice barrel piece cut out. This shield's gonna be round. It's gonna be more like a buckler. Now, a lot of times with this material, you have to kind of heat it up to a warm enough temperature that it gets pliable, and then shape it, and then keep it in that shape as it cools off. Now, unfortunately, I'm not equipped to heat something this big. Now, what I did is that I put my armor boxes, which are a couple of heavy plastic crates, I piled them up on top of this thing to try and flatten it out. And I let it sit there for a couple of weeks, and that did an okay job of getting it relatively straight. Alright, some of you probably recognize this. This is our shield boss that we worked on. We added the patina, and then we did the spray paint, and we got to this really nice color. Alright, so let's see what kind of materials we're gonna need to put that shield together. We've got the body of the shield right here, which of course is our juice barrel, okay? We've got our rattan that we're gonna use as a handle. It doesn't have to be rattan, at least that's what I've been told. And we've got some 5/16 carriage bolts right here, and the appropriate nuts and washers. So this is some cheap canvas that I got at the paint store, and it doesn't necessarily have to be really great canvas, but you need enough to cover both sides of your shield. We're also gonna need some flux here. A lot of powerful fumes, so be careful with this. Alright, so the first step is going to be to cut our canvas. You're probably going to want to paint your shield, so it might be a good idea to use some artist gesso, although I don't really know if it's completely necessary. You're also going to need some shield edging. There's lots of different kinds of shield edging you can use. I opted to use rubber appliance hose. You're going to need something to fasten this to the edge of the shield, so I'm going to use Chicago screws. These have 5/8 inch posts, which were the longest ones I could find. Alright, we're going to put our shield on there. What you want to do is give yourself kind of enough room here between the edge of the shield and the material, because what you're going to do is you're going to draw a larger area, because you definitely want to have extra material that go around the edges of this shield. You're going to want a second piece, so go ahead and move that shield over. This doesn't look like it's really flat enough yet. Shield boss here in the middle. That's approximately where I want to put it. Eyeball center. Oops. Alright, we're gonna measure the lip of our shield boss. And it looks like it's about 7/8 of an inch. So we're gonna measure that inside the circumference of this circle and circle that off. Alright, let's say what we need is a compass. Well, I couldn't find my compass, so I had to improvise a little bit. Oops. Something tells me this circle's not going to be very round. I might as well draw it by hand at this point. Okay, well that's terrible. Alright, I'll put the shield boss on there to measure out the holes. Let's see what we got. Okay, not too bad. Alright, I'm gonna start drilling my holes here. These holes have gotta be wide enough to fit the Chicago screws I'm gonna use to fasten the shield boss to the shield, and then I'm gonna cut a pilot hole for the saw to go around. This is a good time to point out that I'm using a cardboard box as dunnage underneath the shield. Don't just drill into your kitchen table, okay? Sometimes going around like that is a good idea. Widen the hole a little bit. Yeah, I wish there was something fun you could do with these little plastic strips here. Ah, look at that. That's fun. Fun! Ugh. Let's get a sawing, guys. Probably gonna have to sweep the floor after this. This keyhole saw is surprisingly effective. It is a little bit flimsy, but it's getting the job done. Rather than trying to do it in a smooth motion, I'm just like kind of pushing the saw through in a very staccato motion. I like that word. Staccato. Staccato. Made a mistake there. Let's see if I can back the saw. Oops. No. Oh, saw's coming apart. Don't do that. I can't force the saw too much. Oh, hands cramped up. Almost there. Almost there, guys. Of course, because it wouldn't be a fun project without an injury. Oh boy. Ta-da! Victory! Now I need a drink. A nice cold drink of water. Okay, what I did before was that I drew out 2 equal sizes of canvas. One's supposed to go in the front and one's supposed to go in the back. After looking at this a little bit, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to measure out one that is the exact size of the shield. Only one of them needs to be large enough to overlap, and that will probably be the one in the front. The canvas in the back only needs to go over the flaps that kind of fold over the edge of the shield. What that's going to do is going to make the back of our shield look a little neater, and then we're going to put the shield edging on it. That'll help hide some of the sloppy edges here. Now I cut out these tabs because what happens when you start folding material over is that it develops wrinkles. So cutting these triangular sections out of here helps the material fold over flat. I'm going to do the same thing here in the middle. There we go. Now I'm going to cut out this circle and then cut a bunch of tabs out. Actually, rather than just cutting a slot, I want to cut actual spaces between these tabs, because if you don't do that, the tabs will kind of overlap each other, and that kind of creates some problems. So now we got our the shield cut out. Now we got to paste it on there. Oh man, this thing still isn't quite straight. Looks like a floppy potato chip or something. Got my fabric laid out on top of my shield here. I'm about to take my flex seal and I'm about to glue this canvas right onto this shield. Let's equip our rubbers. Equip rubbers. Boom. My flex seal brush, all the bristles are completely glued together with flex seal. That's kind of funny. I'm surprised this stuff is still liquid, but apparently this flex seal's like, nah, I'm still liquid rubber. Ain't no thing. I was worried that this brush wasn't gonna do any good to spread this stuff on here, but I was wrong. I feel like this is gonna be a little bit of a struggle. I hope I don't plug up these holes by mistake. This is really hard on my knees. The bottom half. Pull it down there. Just gonna add a little bit more here on the edge. Hopefully this won't be glued to the floor tomorrow. Alright guys, it looks like our shield is dried. The canvas is now firmly affixed to the plastic. Alright, so now we're going to flip this over. Now, I did glue canvas over my holes, so I just need to do some quick work to make sure that those holes don't get lost in the shuffle. I'm going to take my awl right through that canvas. Alright, I want to find my holes, and I'm just going to mark them so I can find them later. Now I'm going to glue all these tabs to the back. Gonna get my flex seal. Don't let the time lapse fool you. This was incredibly time-consuming and difficult. The wet canvas constantly wanted to slip off the plastic, and if you don't cut your canvas correctly, it's gonna cause all kinds of bumps and wrinkles that you're gonna have to cut down eventually. I had to resort to clamps and weights to get the canvas to set correctly, and I had to make strategic cuts in multiple places. If I had to do this again, I'd think about pre-drilling holes in the plastic and using twine to tie the canvas to the shield as the glue dries. So here we've got our back panel. Now rather than put the glue on the shield, I thought I would put the glue on the canvas because that'll help the canvas adhere to the surface. Alright, let's affix that to our shield. I think I might have it backwards. All we can really do is just wait till that dries. The canvas is affixed to the back of the shield here, and the glue is all dry, so we can continue. Alright, so I've got here a piece of rattan. I'm going to lay it down so I know where to mark the holes. Okay. I'm going to be attaching the shield using these carriage bolts right here. Now I've got a drill bit that's a little bit bigger than the bolt. Wish me luck. I really hate that button on there. It gets pushed down automatically and scares the bejesus out of me. Slightly off. It's a little off center. Don't like it, but hopefully the rattan's strong enough to take it. It's going backwards. You gotta make sure your drill's not going backwards. My hole's going in all different directions. Well, at least it'll be fun. Whew, what a chore. I'm gonna mark my holes here. The angles that I drilled these holes at might be a problem. Ah, no! Bloody hell. Just need to glue it down, that's all. Put our bolts in now. Get these puppies in here. A little stubborn on this side. I think they want to be twisted in. That's kind of annoying. Oh man. Got my mallet. Sometimes you just need to hammer it in there. Is it working? Nope. Get some results. Making a lot of noise. It's affixed on there pretty well, so let's get our nuts in place. I'll not just go on there. Alright, so we pasted our canvas onto the shield and we affixed our handle. You remember I marked my holes from before. I want to widen them so that they're obvious. It's kind of important so we can find them later. While our gesso is drying, let's get to work on our shield edging. Alright, now I have 1/2-inch appliance hose that I got down at the hardware store. Now this is probably kind of overkill as far as shield edging goes, but I saw it and I thought that it was the right size and the right strength and everything. So the first thing you have to do is slit it open, and that's really hard. First time I did it, I used a knife. It went all crooked and wasn't quite even, but in the finished shield, not that easy to tell. This time, I think I'm gonna use these scissors, or these shears, so I have a little bit more control over how I cut it. I got about 2 inches in, and now I can't even close my shears. That kind of put an end to that plan. Knife might be the way to go. What makes this hard is the crazy balancing act that you have to do. Maybe you know a better way of doing this. I'm really stubborn though, so I'm gonna keep doing it like this. Oh, this is exhausting. Going a little crooked there. All right, started from the other side. I think that did it. Just like skinning a snake while it's still alive. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put them on the shield and make sure that they're the right length. I wanna make sure that all the writing on the hose is on the back. There, all right, we got it on. That's 1/2. Just gonna put a mark and just cut that off. Now we got to put the holes in the hose. You take a look at my other shield. See, these corners, they don't stand up too well to abuse. They kind of flop around. I didn't put any fasteners right here in the corner, so I thought I'd seal that up with some glue, but that turned out not to stand the test of time. So with this shield, I'm determined not to repeat that mistake. So I want to fasten her pretty close to the edge, but not right up on it. Some people might want to measure this very carefully. I'm kind of eyeballing it just because this is already kind of an ugly shield. What's a little more asymmetry? So now, a leather punch some holes. When I built my first shield, I poked the holes in the front and the back. I realized that the fasteners didn't want to go all the way through. So this time I'm only poking them in the front. So now what we're doing is we're going to place our hose onto the shield here. This is quite a process. This is not easy. And what sucks is that we're going to have to pull the hose off and do this one more time because we still got to drill the holes. Standing the shield up is a little easier. And get a grip on the hose from both sides. I did go in and trim some of this canvas that was flapping around in the back because that becomes a real nuisance. Turns out we didn't trim enough off of our hose here on this side. Well, that's an easy fix. Boom! And we're gonna have to punch another hole in there. It's a pain in the butt. So now I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my pen and I'll mark the holes. Just do want to come in here and make sure this is making a mark. So the size of these fasteners is 13/64, but I'm going to use a drill bit that is 7/32, just because plastic is a little bit less precise than steel. A little bit inside of the mark. I say go on the inside of the mark a little bit just because that's a weak point for the plastic. You don't want the plastic to break. There. Oh yeah, see, Popping these fasteners through this canvas is a real pain. I think we might have screwed the pooch on that one. Wasn't in the plastic enough. Just drill another hole, make it higher. There we go. Where is it? There. That might still be a pain in the butt to find later. Maybe we should mark it. Gotta squeeze this one like a zit. Gross. Alright guys, so we got our shield, we got all the holes drilled. Surface is primed, and before we can add the hardware, we have to paint it. This time, I'm gonna skip putting my devices on this shield just because there's not a lot of space on here, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. Oh, gross, there's a booger in the paint. Oh. Can you believe I almost thought about peeling this tape without you? Oh, you don't want to miss out on this. This is always pretty satisfying. Oh yeah. It's a little clumpy. Here we go. Alright, what I'm going to add now is just a layer of some Benwood Stays Clear acrylic polyurethane. I like to put on like maybe 2 or 3 coats of this stuff. Keeps the shield nice and shiny and, you know, protects the surface. Check. Nice and gooey. I was actually told that, you know, a couple of layers of Elmer's glue will also do the same job. First coat's almost dry, so I'll go ahead and apply the second coat now. Now here comes the part I've been really looking forward to. This shield boss has just been sitting on my desk for, you know, like a month and a half now. We're gonna put it on our shield. Alright, this is exciting. There we go, yeah. And this hole's not even drilled in the right place. I don't know if that's gonna help. Probably not. I think I have to remove this handle in order to get a clear shot at these holes. Wow, so getting this on here wasn't exactly easy. Alright, I managed to get that little screw in there. And I had to cut a hole through the canvas. No matter how big you cut the hole, there's always fibers sticking right in the hole. By the way, these screws, they're wedged in there so tightly that I can't just pull the handle off anymore. In any case, there's only one more screw left to install here. And the problem is that the hole is like really way off. Is it safe? Probably not. Yeah, that was actually surprisingly easy. Moment of truth. Yay! It fits. This next part's a bit of a challenge. We're gonna get our hose on here. Turns out we have exactly the right amount of fasteners, which is a lucky break. That usually doesn't happen. Alright, the first one's always the hardest. It is a bit like putting a tire on a wheel. Because I'm holding the shield, I can't get a grip on it. It's a cluster fluff. And I'm scratching the shit out of my table too. Now we're gonna use in this process as another camera person. Okay, the second one's always the hardest. Using this long pokey thing has been kind of a go-to strategy for me. Makes it a little bit easier to identify the hole through the canvas. Doesn't always work. Gotta get all those damn fibers out of the way. The third one's always the hardest. No matter how much you cut away from this canvas, there's always a fiber trying to poke its fingers into the hole. You know what they say, the fifth one's always the hardest. I swear you could cut a swath an inch wide, and it still somehow managed to get a fiber in your way and into the hole, keeping you from screwing your post in there. Oh, wait, this is only the fourth one. Oh, man. Oh no, Glove. Stop it, Glove. Could you imagine a world where physical objects just did what they were supposed to and we're dicks about it all the time? That would be paradise. Is it too much to ask not to get a cramp in my hand when I'm doing this? See, I have to saw at these fibers for like 20 minutes just to get them to stay away from the damn hole. That's what they say, the last one's the hardest one. It's the last one on this side anyway. Now to repeat the fun. Yay. These screws never want to go in correctly either. You know what they say, the 10th one's always the hardest. Glue on the inside of this caused so much trouble. See, and then this crap happens. And then you have to pull it apart, and then it pulls the screw out of place. It's a vicious cycle. This canvas is like a bad actor that thinks its job is to be the star of every scene. No matter how you cut this, there's always a fiber in the hole that you have to fish out manually. Physical universes. It's just some cool stuff and then entropy. Entropy, it's like your shitty friend that just makes shitty comments while you're doing all the hard work. Like I'm literally cutting grooves into the plastic, but the canvas won't yield. Another one bites the dust. Second to last one's always the hardest one. Pokey pokey karaoke. Okay, there's one. Cut a Knight some slack, will ya? And there's a bunch of glue in there too. Perfect. You just have to saw away at it, and there's still fibers in the way. Look how big a hole I had to cut just for the fibers not to be in the way. Even still, your fibers still trying to reach in there, get their little fingers in the hole. There's always someone trying to stick their fibers in the hole, keeping you from screwing your post. All right, last one. Probably also need to sharpen my X-Acto blade. Okay, and voila! Our ugly, uneven, off-center potato chip shield. Well, it's done. Sturdy. Now all we have to do is go back and thread lock every single one of these screws that we just put in.
4 hours later.
Alright, so now we've gone in and put our leather washers. The screws are all thread locked. Everything's locked into place. Well, the only thing left to do is to see how it performs in battle. To the battlefield! So, funny story, guys. I started shooting this video in July of last year. And just so you get an idea of how long it takes for me to edit and finish these videos and publish them to YouTube, we're now in the middle of the COVID-19 outbreak, and everyone's quarantined at home. So I, just like you, am holed up in my castle, just waiting this pestilence out. So anyway, a lot of time has passed since I started shooting this video, and I made the shield, and back then it was brand new, and now you can see the shield has seen some use. Well, the funny thing is that I didn't film any footage of me using the shield whatsoever. So that's my bad. Since we're all holed up here and I can't go to practice to actually use a shield in combat, I've arranged a little demonstration. Oh, you can do better than that. Incoming! Hello, Nelly. First beans. Oh, good in the groin. Oh, bananas! Oh, Magna Carta! Oh, Albert Einstein's ghost! Oh, Fibonacci sequence! Oh, holy women suffrage! What the heck? Oh, begone, vile spirit! Oh no, I'm in trouble now! Eggs and bacon! Oh, sausage and biscuits! Oh, let's hear it for rage! Well, that wasn't so bad. Tools now? Oh, holy gardening shears! Oh, my corona! Oh, you might have a problem! What the? Oh, I'm so confused. I'm getting a lot of mixed signals right now. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Lord Xerus. Lord Xerus Does Stuff, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Join me next time when I make more cool stuff. And remember our motto, Noli te timere ut supere. Don't be afraid, tough sock. I'll see you on the battlefield. Oh, Plant, come on, Plant. Plant just wants to get in on the action. That's all. Plant wants to help. Thanks, Plant. Thank you for your help.